Jujubear here. It's Tuesday, so time for another episode of Total War Tuesday, where we play a best of 3 small funds mini tournament on any title from the Total War franchise. Now today, we are jumping into a couple of games from Total War ATTILA. That's right, I managed to get someone to play Total War ATTILA with me. It's been fairly quiet, to say the least, in Total War ATTILA. And it's very nice to see like people just jumping on again. I think with the Charlemagne expansion pack coming out soon, what better time to jump in? And I think a lot of other people are thinking that kind of thing as well. So, game 1 out of 3, I'm playing as the Tanukhids that came in the Empires of Sands DLC pack. If you haven't got it yet, jump in and grab it already. You get some really interesting factions to play as, including this faction here, the Tanukhids. Now, these guys are specialists in these very light shock cavalry that have insanely high charge bonus. You can see there 225 charge bonus there. And my general here has a charge bonus of Marvia's bodyguard, 163. So I've got 2 of those Marvia's lancers there, and then the Marvia's bodyguard. So a very heavy shock cavalry and 2 of these very light shock cavalry. And I've got a couple of these ambushing units. Now, I've got 2 of these Sandstorm Lancers. Pretty much the same unit. Got a very high charge bonus, very light shock cavalry. So I got 2 of them right up the front. And I've got a Tanukhid Ambusher, which is also pretty much the same deal. Very lightly armored. Very high charge bonus, 130 there. But pretty much next to no armor. And then a couple of these Badia Skirmishers. So what I was hoping to do is catch my opponent off guard, game 1, and just throw a couple of units at him. So my my deployment zone was kind of this area back here, but I was able to deploy pretty far up with these units here. I don't have my paint tools, I don't know why. Let's see if I can get that fixed up for the next video. So you're gonna see me straight away just charge at his units. His units were on fire at will, and he was fairly quick to react to what I was doing, so kudos to my opponent here. I do get a nice charge in with my Sandstorm Lancers. Gonna get a lot of kills off the bat there. In the center, I'm gonna charge straight into his Dramatic Swordsman with my own Tanukhids Ambushes. They're gonna get a lot of kills in that kind of situation. I'm actually gonna pull out with my Sandstorm Lancers. You can see that we did a lot of damage there, taking these Germanic Horsemen down by about 30 men. And I'm gonna bring up the rear with my other units that I left behind. He's gonna chase me with these Badia Skirmishers. I'm gonna pull out with my Tanukhid Ambushes and then go into the back of these Noble Dramatic Swordsmen. I'm basically just trying to pull back where I can and hit my opponent when he's not looking. And so far it's not really working out as I had planned. So I've already lost 1 unit. My skirmishers are starting to get some fairly good shots off, but a couple of my Sandstorm Lancers at this point have started to rout. So I've got 1 left here, they're just getting into these Dramatic Spearmen, getting a few kills. These Marvia's Lancers got another really good charge on this Frankish General, almost down to half strength. My Badia Skirmishers are just running away and trying to get a good spot to charge into the opponent. Very nice charges all across the board. As you can see there, pulling down that Noble Dramatic Swordsman down by about half of its men. My General coming in here, going to be a brutal punishing charge into these Dramatic Spearmen. My opponent's put his archers into Flaming Shot, which in Attila gives them a bonus versus large. I don't know why. Go figure. Again, getting a nice charge into these units. It was kind of actually not a good charge at all. The enemy units were spread out. He's going to chase me off with his Frankish General, which is a medium unit. So I'm going to have to turn around at some point and face him because I am a very heavy shock cavalry. So I do get a counter charge with my Marvia's Lancers to buy me a little bit of time, but it's not going to be enough to kill all of his units. So I'm going to have to try and get his cavalry off the field, but these Frankish units just have the awesome cavalry. These guys can last in these Germanic factions especially. They just last forever in combat. They've got lots of armor, very high health, all that kind of thing. Very hard to kill them off. So you see my opponent's done quite a good job of holding me at bay. I'm basically just trying to go back and forth with my general, kill off as many opponent enemy units as I can. But this unit is down to 24 men, and it's still not routing. Like, it's got double silver XP chevrons, but just really difficult to get rid of those units. I get a nice volley off onto his general there. And I think I actually did manage to kill his general, but it wasn't enough. My opponent doing a very good job of dealing with the threat that I threw at him, or surprised him with at the start of the game. Yeah, my Tanukhids bushes, even though they only really got 1 or 2 proper charges, they got 105 kills. And you can see my Marvius Lancers and Sandstorm Lancers doing pretty well for what they actually did. So that's game 1 to Farham. That kind of put me in my place and gave me something to expect for the next couple of games. This time I went for a more sensible army composition. I've got the Lakhmids this time, which is also part of the Sands Culture of Sands DLC pack. My opponent's taking the Eastern Roman Empire. Now you can see he's got a Magister Militum. Very tanky. I think it is actually. It might be a Comas. My army composition here is made up of Sandstorm. You know what? I'm not going to guess until we get into the actual game. But I think it's like a Desert Warlord is my general's unit. Fairly good. 750 talons. I got 2 of these Wadai. Is that the name of them? Yeah, Wadai. These guys are excellent shot cavalry. Heavy shot cav. You know, they last a long time in melee. Very cost effective. So I've got 2 of them in the center to ward off any frontal YOLOs. I got 2 of these Desert Bowmen just to soak up enemy fire. I got 3 of these Desert Tribes people. Now these guys are also very cost effective. I think it's only 375 talons on those units. And I've got out in the flank over here a Desert Mounted Skirmisher. Now this unit immediately is going to go into his Equites Promoti, and I'm going to pull away and do some damage on him. Now I forgot this about Attila. Total War Attila, when you start the game, your units, especially your skirmishing units are not automatically on skirmish function. So you have to actually turn it on for them to utilize that function, which is really frustrating because I got caught a couple of times here and I had no idea why, but that's exactly why it happened. And I've also got 1 Armored Camel Warrior. Now these guys are camels, so they got very high mass, very high health as well. And I'll be able to do some pretty punishing charges with them. Now back to these Desert Tribes people, very good units, very cheap. You can see the charge bonus on these guys. Hang on a second. Sorry, the melee attack on these guys, melee damage is 40. Now that's pretty good for a unit that's so cheap. Average missile block chance, so all around they're just a fairly good unit to have in the fight. Now my opponent, the Roman here, has brought Legio Comitatensis, Protectoris, Domestici. So 2 of them in the center and then flanked by 2 Legio Comitatensis. And then Comitatensis spears on the flanks. So pretty good setup, and he's got a couple of these Ballistarii. They're going to be on my flank with they're going to be firing into my shielded flank. So they probably would have been more use over here on this flank over here. And he's also got a Magister Militum General, so I was correct. Yeah, I do get caught. I get caught by his Equites Promoti, which is really frustrating because I had lots of ammo left on this unit. So there's a lesson to be learned. Make sure you turn the skirmish function on with your skirmishers because they will get slaughtered if you do not. So straight off the bat, I'm up on the hill. I'm really liking this position that I've got here. I'm gonna immediately start firing into his Ballistarii, I think. He doesn't actually put his units into loose formation. Now loose formation is very good if you want to absorb lots of fire from enemy units, like I am here. And I guess it's pretty self-explanatory. If you're in a formation that's a little bit more spread out, then there's less chance of your units being hit. So I'm going to do a bit of a 1-2 punch here with my units. It's a fairly common Total War move that you can do. So I'm going to hit him with my cavalry and then follow up with my infantry. I think that's what I do here. Yeah, here we go. So this kind of was mistimed a little bit. This is probably more what I'm talking about. So my Wadai come in, get a lot of kills straight off the bat, and then I'm going to follow up with, yeah, here we go. I'm going to follow up with some infantry. Then I'm going to pull out my own cavalry. So downhill charge by these camel warriors, going to absolutely flatten that whole and I'm just going to pull straight through. I don't even have to pull straight through because they're all lying down. And I'm going to go straight for his crossbowman. My general's unit is going to go straight after his general's unit. I get a very good downhill charge into his unit where he does not. I'm going to back him up with my Wadai. My desert tribes people, tribesmen are going to do quite well in these engagements, up against fairly expensive units here. So I'm going to have to help out with my MWE and bring him back into this, to a flank charge on this Legio Comitatensis. I finished off one crossbow unit, and I'm going to bring these camels into the back of all this big old clump of units. That's going to do quite a bit of damage. I'm going to bring my Wadai over onto this flank and get some recharges. So, 1-2 punches and hammer and anvils. In Total War Attila, cavalry is absolutely king. You cannot win a battle without... Well, I don't know actually, that's not true. There probably are some very good cavalry somewhere. Some very good infantry somewhere that can deal with cavalry, but I am yet to see it. Cavalry have great mass, they have great impact damage. So everything about cavalry in Attila is like Rome 2 on steroids, basically. Which gives them some really entertaining cav charges. Boom, absolutely wrecking a whole bunch of units there. It'd be great to see how many kills we've got at the end of this match. So he actually brings his Equites Promoti back, and I didn't actually notice this because I'm busy microing over here and elsewhere. So he actually manages to get into some of my my Desert Bowmen, but that's okay with me because they only cost 170 talents, and they're in loose formation, which means he's going to get kind of like an awkward charge there. There you can see how my unit's just getting flung uphill by a cavalry charge. It wasn't particularly quick. So that's just how much damage you can do with a cavalry charge. I'm going to bring my camel warriors in here. These camel warriors are excellent against enemy cavalry. And I'm going to get another charge downhill into these spears. Kind of an awkward charge. But yeah, these Wadai are excellent units. If you are playing as the Aksum, is it the Aksum? Yeah, if you, as a Lakhmids, if you're playing as a Lakhmids, definitely bring a couple of those Wadai. Those guys are well worth their money. 219 kills on this unit here, and almost 200 in the other there. So doing a very good job. My Armored Camel Warrior is getting 511 kills. That is mental, absolutely mental. That's insane. I didn't even notice. Maybe I should go back and have a look at what it was doing, because that is incredible. 511 kills. Equites Promoti getting 181 kills. His infantry not really doing a whole lot of damage on me, so not a whole lot of impact on with his infantry, and his Magister Militum doing a fairly good job there as well. Now game 3. So it's 1-1. 1 to Jujubear, 1 to Faram. I'm playing as the Aksum, which is the third, so I'm finishing the Holy Trinity of the Sands Empire of Sands Culture DLC pack. So Aksum is the last of the 3 of these new factions to be brought, and I'm just going to put this in slow motion because I've got a couple of these Adani trackers over here. Now these Adani trackers carry hunting dogs. These very light warhounds are very important against enemy cavalry and enemy skirmishers, and they also have bows as well, so they can be kind of like a double unit. I got 2 of these Sons of the Invincible Mahrem, and 2 of these, or 3 of these, are fast swordsmen. I've also got an Armored Camel Warrior just because they're so good, and a Desert Chieftain Warrior. Now, these 2 units are hidden at the moment, which is nice. I was planning to leave these guys here and fire into these units without my opponent knowing where I was. But that's not really going to work out because I didn't actually notice these units were here. These are cavalry units. So my opponent's got a Vandal Warlord, Noble Alani Cav, and 2 more Noble Alani Cav on this flank. 2 Germanic Pikes backed up by 3 Noble Germanic Swordsmen. So a very competent Germanic army here. Very nice pick from my opponent. So he's straight away going to go after me. I was going to try and pull back with my units, but it's a little bit too late. Kind of annoying that straight off the bat I lost a fair... I mean, it's not that expensive. These data trackers only cost maybe like 300 and something denarii. So he actually gives up the chase there and goes after my other Adana tracker. I don't know if I released the dogs. I don't think I did. So I managed to salvage 1 Adana tracker, so that was kind of stupid, just leaving them behind this hill. But again, I'm taking risks, and they're just not really paying off. So the third game, the decider, has not really started off so well. You can see my warhounds just running off into the distance there. Very cool. They're like African hunting dogs, these guys. Super cool. I really like the skins on those dogs. So 2 Germanic pikes coming up. Probably just going to screen. Of course, I'm not going to charge straight into that. I know better. I don't really have anything to deal with it though. For example, I don't really have enough skirmishing power to attack these pikes. Oh yeah, I released the warhands on this unit. I didn't really notice, and I got no kills. I didn't really notice, but if you click attack orders with the Adana trackers, it automatically releases the dogs. So there we go, another lesson learned. I'm guessing if I click attack orders once instead of twice, like double clicking, it won't do that. But yeah, I'll have to try and just get used to some of the Attila gameplay mechanics because I'm coming back to it from a long hiatus. So he's got kind of like a surround happening here. A lot of these are Alani cavalry just kind of surrounding me. I'm just going to face off with my Sons of the Invincible Marem. Now these guys have a fairly good attack against cavalry. They do have a bonus against cavalry. I'm not sure what it is, but I'm basically going to try and pair up this spearman against this cav unit, this spearman against that cav unit, and then I've got cavalry in the back to deal with his own Alani general as well. So again, skirmish function is not on, so I'm going to have to pull back my Adana trackers, and I think I do. I noticed his cavalry wasn't really doing anything, so you're going to see me do the classic 1-2 punch all over again. Going to smash into his Noble Germanic Swordsman and follow up with my own Afar Swordsman. That's going to enable me to absolutely destroy his own infantry. He is bringing up his Noble Alani Cav from the rear, and I'm just going to turn around and go straight for them with my own armored camel warriors. And my general here is going to get into his own Noble Alani Cav, and I'm going to back it up with his Sons of the Invincible Marem. Now I'm going to actually chase his Cav unit over here with my own spear unit, and they're going to be able to catch them and maybe get a few kills. So we've already finished off, what is that, Germanic Swordsman. We're finishing off another pike unit. Over here we've got his Vandal Warlord General surrounded. He is supporting with pikes over here, and they're probably going to get a few kills. Not really many yet. He is going to support in this fight against my armored camel warriors, but my camel warriors can really put up against a lot of punishing here, because they've got like 337 health on that unit. That's pretty intense. And I'm going to back it up with my own Sons of the Invincible Marem on both sides and do a bit of a pincer movement. Yep, finishing off another Germanic Swordsman unit there. I'm going to chase after his own General's unit with my own Desert Chieftain. I'm pretty confident I can win that fight. Over here he's gearing up with another Alani Cav unit. He's actually got another one over there that was kind of sitting around for the fight. I have got my my Adana trackers firing into this Vandal Warlord. You can see the arc of fire is pretty intense. They fire right up into the air and over this little hill here. I'm going to get a nice charge into his own Noble Alani Cavalry with my own Armored Camel Warriors, and we are finishing off one of his Alani Cavalry over here with the help of my Sons of the Invincible Mars Bars. A fast swordsman coming into the back of these Noble Germanic Swordsmen. Now these units are fucked. These fast swordsmen are absolutely ridiculous. 61 melee attack, 44 weapon melee damage, 71 charge bonus. Those are crazy, absolutely intense attack statistics there. Melee defense is actually pretty good there as well at 39. Just the only bad thing, and it seems to be a very common theme with these Empire of Sands DLC pack cultures, is the fact that they just don't wear armor. So they've got very high attack, all those kinds of things, but they just don't have armor. So they can't stand up to cav charges like this. They cannot stand up to enemy, archer fire either. So you got to be very careful about how you use them. My opponent using his cavalry fairly well now. I'm backing up this fight with my own fast swordsman, and he's going to get a really nice rear charge into my general's unit here. This is probably a fight that won't go so well for me in the long term, but I am bringing a couple of units in to sandwich this own Noble Alani cavalry unit. And all the while I'm firing into this big old blob with my own Adana tracker. So they've got plenty of armor left. Ammo left. And there's 40 men in that unit. He's going to pull out with his cavalry. But I think it's a little bit too late because he's lost pretty much all of his army. I love the way the archer fire looks in this game. It's sick. So there we go. Close victory. 2-1. The Afar Swordsman getting lots of kills. Almost 200 in every single one. Armor Camera Warriors, again, doing a really great job. These Adana trackers actually didn't really get many kills at all. I was expecting them to get a lot more than they did. Sons of the Invincible Mariam getting a lot of kills on the enemy cavalry, and the Desert Chieftain actually getting a lot more kills than I expected. So, yeah, very good player for I'm really glad that we were able to get a couple of games in Attila. Stay tuned. We're probably going to be getting some gameplay of the Charlemagne pack once that comes out. And we'll see you guys next time. Jujubear signing out. Peace.